everybody. Okay, so I'm doing my first instructional video for Mermaid stuff, and this is going to be how to modify a rounded Finis monofin. This fin right here is a Rapid. I highly recommend this fin as a starter fin because it's actually, these foot pockets are very adjustable. Unlike the Tempo, which I don't even think they make anymore, they're actually fairly wide because they're built for man's feet. I have really wide feet myself, so it's a fairly comfortable fin to wear as a starter fin. You can get them for roughly around $50 on eBay to about $80 through a regular shopping service like Swim Outlet. And usually it's on the tail that I'm putting in right now. It's on a neoprene tail, and I might do a tutorial on how to make these later, but usually you would make it before you would put it into the tail. But this is a tail that I made for a friend of mine a while ago, and we had to take the monofin out and put it into Fox's tail. So now my friend Ada will be getting her tail rebuilt with this fin here. So yeah. Okay, so these are the supplies that I have right now. If I forgot anything, I'll include it into the description. But a pair of scissors you're going to need for the PVC sheeting. These are neoprene rubber fender washers that I've never used them before, but because they're really flexible, I think they might work really well on the flexibility of the fin itself. And in case they don't, I have these as well. I've got these here, which are binding posts with screws. I've got a couple different sizes. They're made of nylon. Hold on. There we go. Nice and focused. I got these at Home Depot, and there will be a portion of the video where it shows where to buy them, because being me, I'm anal retentive. When I personally watch videos and there's not instructions on where exactly to find something in the store, I usually won't do it. So I'll show you exactly where to get those. I have some slightly longer ones here. Yeah, these ones are fairly short, but it's basically you have a screw for each side, which is really nice because it'll make it so that it's nice and flush when you actually bolt the two pieces together, instead of having one of these where the end would be sticking out and you'd have to cut it out for the Dremel, which is easy to do. And these I've used before for bolting a fin together, but yeah, you do have to adjust it, and because they're metal, they do start to rust eventually. Sharpie to mark on the PVC, this blade just in case I need it. I've got the plumber's goop here. This is actually easier to find at Home Depot. They don't usually sell E6000. They're basically exactly the same thing. They're made by the same company, so either or. They're both built to go underwater, so like, you know, to withstand stuff, and they're not toxic. Well, once they're cured, they're not toxic. So yeah, and this, what we'll be using this for, well, you'll see, it's just to cover everything to make sure nothing comes unstuck. And then finally, I've got my Dremel, and I've got tons and tons of little bits in here. Well, not tons and tons. I wish I had more, but you never know. You know what I mean. So yeah, wow. I really hope you guys can actually follow what I'm saying here. I do apologize for this. And then of course we've got this big roll right here of PVC, and I'll show you also where to find that in the store. Okay, so people have been wondering what it is that I use for my my tail extensions for my fluke. This is the stuff. I don't know how well that's focusing right now. Hopefully I can fix it. There we go. This is the stuff I use. It's PVC sheeting. Obviously don't get a sheet like this because it's super heavy, but yeah, they're about 20 bucks a sheet. You get this, it's literally, I'm going to back up here so you can see how big this thing is. They're huge. So you've got plenty of option if you mess up, plus you can cut it with scissors. It's found over in the lumber section at Home Depot. So there you go. Okay, so the screws I use look like this, and they're really easy to cut to whatever length you need. You can find them in this drawer here. Most of the Home Depot people will not know what you're talking about. They genuinely will not know. It's in this drawer, one of these drawers. The one here is M13. It might change, you never know. You're basically looking for something like this. They come in all different lengths. Just make sure that when you grab them, they have both sides. And again, you can cut this down to however long you need it. So that's what I'm using on mine. Now when I'm buying washers, I always make sure to bring this piece with me. because this is not easy to do with one hand, but as you can see, it doesn't actually fit in all of them, so despite the fact that it might look like it will, it's not always going to. So you want to find one that makes sure it actually fits all the way through and that it can fit onto to this side. I can actually get it to go. Not easy to do with one hand and holding my keys. Okay, hold on. Let's see. Yeah. You see how that fits on there? Okay, you want to make sure that it does that. The other option I've just seen is these, which are actually neoprene washers, which can also be found in one of these drawers here. I think it's this one down here. I've never used them before. I'm going to try them to see how they work. They're pretty flexible, which is actually really good for the fin itself, because it will be slightly flexible, especially underwater. I don't know how, the reason you're getting these though is to distribute the weight, so that the posts don't snap and that the holes don't crack. So I don't know whether or not this is going to be a good option. It looks like it might be, but we'll see. And like I said, this is a big sheet. I've already used pieces of it. So you can see it's huge. You get a lot for the price. So if you mess up, don't worry about it. You can always do it again because you're gonna have tons. So yeah, I mean, here's the monofin as compared to the rest of the sheet. You have a lot of space to work with. Okay, so I've laid out the way that I want my fin to go. Obviously I already have a pre-cut shape here, but you can shape it however the heck you want, which is a really awesome thing for doing the PVC sheeting. So you don't have what I like to call the manatee fin, and these don't flop all around everywhere, because that's something that drives me personally really nuts, and as I'm sure it does many of you. This, by the way, really easy to cut. As you can see, there's a little edge here that will be need to trim down. That's simple enough to do. What I'm going to end up doing, I can't really do it and hold on to the video camera at the same time. It's not going to make a really good video. I apologize. But I'm going to trace around the edge with a Sharpie, just basically get the shape I want. I don't need to cut this much further than the toe area because it's not going to go any much higher than that. It's really not. We will end up trimming these down, and I'll show you how to do that as well. Okay, so I've traced around the edge. You can see there. Here in the center is obviously where the it's going to need to be cut into the monofin itself, and I'm going to show you how to do that now. Okay, lay everything back down, get everything back where it should be, and I'm going to attempt to do this one-handed with the camera in hand. So do this. That's the point we need. And then looks pretty good. Yeah, that's pretty good. Okay, now that I'm looking at it, it's not perfectly center. So what I'm going to do, let's see. I didn't grab a ruler. Of course I didn't. That's okay, because I can improvise. Improvisation! Yeah. Okay. Here's what I'm going to do to improvise. It's actually pretty simple. Do this. Just right there. Yes, I am MacGyver when it comes to doing things, so if you have no idea what I'm doing here or don't understand, I do apologize. I'm basically measuring the distance here. I just find it better on this side. Measuring the distance here, and then I can fold it in half and then find the center. Yeah, it's it's not exactly rocket science, but you know. Okay, so right about there is the center, which means we got the center there. And I wish I could hold my phone with my mouth. But okay, I'm going to remark that, and we'll get it nice and even. Okay, scissors, because honestly, it's not that hard, and I do apologize having to hold this with my feet. But one-handed camera operation, not exactly easy. See, it's really simple to cut with just a standard pair of scissors. It takes a little effort, but you're gonna get it. You're gonna get it. So when you get down to the point, you'll have to cut in a little bit, but it'll be fine because trust me, it's not gonna rip. And now we have a chunk removed. Don't need that anymore. So, this back. And if you really want this to be like perfectly even, like either side, you can do a mirror image. You can cut out one side, fold it over, lay it on the other side, and get, you know, perfect mirror image. Do it with a piece of paper or a couple pieces of paper taped together, because that'll work better than folding the PVC in half, because if you fold the PVC in half, you'll get a line. So next step is to cut this out here. Again, really simple with a standard pair of scissors. I'm going to cut 2, because with this particular fin, I want it to be a little less floppy than the one I made for Fox. And I want it to retain that rigidity that it should have. So there's going to be 2, and they're going to be bolted, one on the front or on the top of the monofin, and one on the back of the monofin. Okay, so I've got one piece cut out here. You can see, I mean, I didn't fold it and crease it, but you can see they're pretty even now, all the way around. So, and because it doesn't have a crease, it can actually flatten out pretty easily. This stuff is super flexible, so yeah. I'm going to cut out the next one, and then we'll proceed to bolting it to the monofin. Okay, while I'm doing this, I will show you, at least attempt to show you. I mean, it's super simple to cut this stuff, and you don't have to be super accurate with it either. It's not that big of a deal, because once it's under the neoprene, or even under, if you're doing a spandex tail, once it's under there, it's not going to show too much. Although if you are doing a spandex fin, I really do recommend getting or putting something around the edge, because it's going to be really sharp, and it might start cutting through the fabric itself. It's not, I mean, it's not super sharp, but make sure your corners are rounded. And because if you have a sharp corner like this, it's just going to, here, let me show you. It's just going to start poking through eventually, and you really don't want it to wear through, because, you know, then you're basically ruining your whole tail. So I would say put something like the plumber scoop around the edge, wait 24 hours for it to dry. You just basically put a layer, and you have a buffer. So, yeah. And this is pretty much what it's going to look like, well, shape-wise when it's done. But because the fin has these ridges on it, we're going to have to get rid of those. So, but yeah, it's basically going to do that. So then you've got this lovely, much more even looking fin, and not a manatee fin. Okay, my next step was to label these so I knew which piece went where. You can actually, this stuff, I don't know if you can see it, it sort of has a grain to it on only one side. The other side is much more smooth and doesn't really show that. So I like the smoother side on the outside, only because it starts to curve towards the more textured side. So yeah, so I've labeled these just because I'm going to be cutting little grooves out of them for where some of the channels are, so that it fits better. I'm not going to cut the entire channels off, because then I think it makes this too floppy. These are such support. I mean, they offer everything.